my dad was in the European front during World War II, and my uncle was in the Pacific, obviously, and they didn't talk about it. This was not something we all talked about very much. Now, Uncle Bud, he was U.S. born. He was my mother's brother. My uncle was very badly wounded during the war, was in a coma, and the Australian troops apparently were allowed to go clean up the battlefield, right, and deal with the dead, deal with the wounded, whatever, I guess. And they found him, and he was in a coma. And they shipped him down to Australia and put him in a hospital down there. So he was, there he was. And an Australian nurse really worked with him and worked on him. And when he finally came out of the coma, was able to speak to him. Meanwhile, his mother and father, my mother, nobody knew where Uncle Bud was. And they all assumed he had been killed, but they didn't know for sure. But that nurse managed to get in touch with them. They were amazed because I'm sure they had given up hope. I mean, again, this is nothing that anybody's ever talked about, but I'm presuming by knowing them, right? And so he came home, and I actually have pictures of him where his wife, as I told you, he was married for 1,000 years to one woman in his life. She was out in the field and holding him up, so that he could smell the roses. And so you knew he was really badly wounded. Before the surgery, I had said to him, he had his wedding ring on, which is right there. And I said to him, Uncle Bud, I will put this on my finger and I won't take it off until I can give it to you again. So we're there, and it was like, okay, I'm going to be here for 5 days anyway. Let's clean up this stuff from the apartment. I'll help you do that. It's the least I can do. You guys have been the one taking care of him all this time. So we did, and there was a box of stuff. But this box of stuff was intriguing, and none of my cousins wanted it, or their kids wanted it. And I said, well, I'll take it. I'm going to put it in a box and send it home. And when I got home and I opened it, there was a little plastic bag that had this very beautiful piece of cloth in it, right? And it's not my vocation, but it's what I love to do. I love to sew. I love to do all that kind of stuff. So I'm a fabric geek, And there it was. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. What is this? This has got to be something. He never showed it to any of us. There's got to be something that we need to find out about. So I got online and started looking, and sure enough, I found out what it was. That's kind of the story of it, and so in that box that I got was some rattles, some baby shoes, and there was this flag, okay? So I have to ask you a question that I don't know that I really want the answer to, but, I had said to you that I was going to write a letter to the family, and I really did struggle with that, right? And because I didn't know the answers to some of these questions, I thought, just leave it, don't do it, right? But did my uncle kill him?